What do you spend most of your time thinking about? How much longer humans will be around before we go extinct? Geologically speaking, we are nothing but a minuscule blip on the timeline and are doing a fantastic job at fricking up the planet we live on. We're having a bit of a peak now, but I think we will go back to tribal faction warfare after the oil runs out. Sometimes I have moments when I think of humans in general and how far we've come as a species. So many things we take for granted. Also, I wonder how long after my death will it be until I'm completely forgotten? Do you know your grandparents' parents? How about their parents? Exactly, it's like they never existed if there are no pictures or stories. That kinda creeps me out. I often think about what I'm gonna miss out on if I die, how far humanity has to go, laser beams and easy space travel. I'll be disappointed if I miss out on these. My partner, my dad, hot cocoa, veggie burgers, laundry, exposing samples to structured noise to recover additional information. One of these things is not like the others. The fantasy world that I built in my mind. I have been doing it since middle school, so it is around 15 years of world making in the mind. I remember when I was a child I had a whole imaginary band of heroes that went on adventures and had a giant skyship. They had 5 distinct story arcs. For the last year or so, stocks, specifically GameStop, literally had been an obsession. It's 1 AM and I'm reading the newest posts about Fidelity pulling a fast one and an impending partnership announcement with Loopring. I recently turned 25. I feel old. It feels like life is on fast forward and I'm not ready for it. I don't know why, but 25 specifically got me feeling like this. Like I am not that young kid full of potential anymore. Also, in 50 years I'm 75. I have maybe 50 good years left if I'm lucky. Just feels depressing AF in general. 30 is going to be a BLOL. Same dude. I'm halfway through 25 now. This year hit different, like an epiphany for change in my life. I think about how all the rats are being fed in New York. I was homeless for 3 years and the group I ran with fed the rats. They would go dumpster diving at a Walmart or Freddy's grocer and get a bunch of stale food. Then they would break it into crumbs and throw it down alleys and in the drains. The worst was when they got 5 heavy bags of sugar. I believe it was because of them that this one apartment complex on Riverside Ave got infested with roaches and rodents. They were just pouring sugar down all the cracks and crevices along the alley walls. I couldn't sleep in that alley no more. I'd wake up to something biting me half the time. So I stopped fooking around with those guys. All the wasted time on my ex. How things could have gone differently if everything said was actually true and if I should try again. I kind of just want to die, to be honest. I think it's too much to be alive. I don't like living. I'm not even depressed or anything. I like my life. But it's tiresome to exist and I kind of don't want to do it anymore. I guess in the end, I just want to be left alone. So a lot of my life is geared towards that. How can I be left alone so as to die in peace? I just wish people would leave me alone and not demand so much from me. The majority of my life I have done things other people have wanted me to do. School, work, never has this existence allowed me to do what I myself wanted. I guess I'm just a slave. So sometimes I feel it's better to not be here anymore. I mean, I'm only here to serve others, apparently. Like if I was to go off and do what I wanted, I would be denied food, clothes, shelter. I would be homeless as a punishment, kicked out, evicted, starved to death, because other people said so. Not that there isn't food, clothes, shelter available, but just because I don't deserve it unless I do what other people say and I deserve to die in that case. I mean, I do so because I like being alive, but I honestly question if I'm stupid for wanting to keep living. I don't really get the ability to actually be myself. I don't like that. So I guess that's my answer. I spend a lot of time thinking about how people are forcing me do things I don't want to do. If I did what I wanted, I would be left to die alone, so I guess I'm just a slave for others. I cried because what you said could not be more accurate. Finally found someone who spoke the same thoughts perfectly. My wife and how lucky I am to have her in my life. Sounds cheesy, I guess. Second marriage, first was 17 years. Second one has been 11. With those numbers, Imagine how long the third one will last. My dogs and my husband, and then my incredibly good workplace because I'm fortunate enough to have a good place there. All relatively good stuff, which I don't ever take for granted, ever. I was recently diagnosed with ADHD as an adult. Since then most of my thoughts have been about how I could not have seen this sooner in my life. All the symptoms line up with what has been happening in my personal life for quite some time now. I just think back to moments in school where I would focus on all the wrong things and how I felt like as an adult I was being lazy. But now with a clinical diagnosis behind me I feel so much better. Things that I have but don't want and things that I don't have but want. I'll elaborate further. Things I have but don't want. Anxiety, ADHD, low self-esteem and not much motivation. I don't think I'm that pretty and my voice sounds horrible when recorded. Things I don't have but want. Friends, especially ones who care about me and are interested in the same things as me and what I have to say. Hope, confidence in my own abilities, a good gaming setup, great PC, nice monitor, and a decent keyboard and mouse. A job that I find interesting and that I'm comfortable with. I sincerely hope you get everything you want. How little we matter as a race, how corrupt and evil most humans are. When you die, your family may talk about how they miss you, but in a couple decades, not a soul on earth will know or remember who you are. How incredibly depressing it is that we have to work a job we detest for decades just to make next to no money and living paycheck to paycheck. How brief life is, and instead of spending time with people you love and care about, you have to be at work 9 hours a day for your shift, and when you get back home the process just repeats. If you're lucky you may get a day or two off each week, but normally I use that day trying to get back as much energy for the next shift. It's soul sucking and can interfere with so many things. Mental health being bad makes the situation much worse. There's a huge difference between living and existing. I feel like I'm trying to min-max my life like there is a right way to live. Ultimately I just want to remain healthy and spend my time doing things I enjoy. But the pull and stimuli of the media is overwhelming and digs deep into the psyche. There is a guide on pretty much how to do anything and everything. And if you do something different than the way someone else does something, the internet provides unlimited criticism. I've mitigated a lot of the issue, but I do think of it quite a bit. How time accelerates as you get older, the years stacking up behind you quietly and unnoticed. Recently, I recalled watching as the Soviet flag was finally lowered from the Kremlin and the Russian flag raised. It's one of my most vivid memories, and it happened on Christmas Day, 1991, 30 years ago. So I guess that beyond the usual day-to-day worries, I find myself increasingly startled at how old I've become. Work. I have this horrible flaw where I can't get it out of my mind. No matter the job, the flaws in the job consume my mind. I hate it. Every social blunder I've ever made since I was a child. I also am constantly worrying about money, food, rent, the dumpster fire that is my mental health, the decisions I've made so far that always seem to be self-destructing, etc. I also tend to review all the mistakes I've made so far in life. In all honesty, the thought that crosses my mind the most is how could I die in the next few hours. I've imagined thousands upon thousands of possible deaths, most of them implying someone stabbing me to death, and I just want someone to actually do it and put an end to everything. I've been having these thoughts every single day for at least 10 years. Depression is one heck of a BTCH, and my meds aren't helping at all. I like to think about what the landscape used to look like in any given place I'm at. I'm driving on the interstate and I think about what it used to look like before roads, and even further back. It's insane to think about how much history every single part of the planet has experienced. Alternate universes, and what's happening there right now, and what I'd do if I could go there. Implementing programming languages, real estate, computational geometry, quantum mechanics, the decline of civilization and the inherent flaws in human nature, whether I'm doing the right thing with my life. That nothing will change. BC people are dongs. It's not hard to be kind, but it's more satisfying to be a dong. I was going to make this a play on words with dong and hard, but it's 4 AM and my brain hasn't warmed up yet. my future and if I have a timer or what my abilities are. I have acquired several chronic illnesses, one precancerous and non-cancerous that has impacted my ability to work. I'm not sure that I can without regular breaks or naps. I'm 37 and have been out of work for the past 4 years because of it. I'm scared I'll amount to nothing in the time I may or may not have left. TBH about people I hate and how to make them pay. I think it's got something to do with OCD, like I focus on it intensely and my brain trying to find ways to resolve it. I hate it and it's a horrible part of me. When I can control it I'm so happy and nice to be around, but when I can't I am miserable and a vacuum. Oh, usually if I'm bored and not actively distracting myself I'll think of various depressing things like nothing matters because all will be lost in time. What will afterlife be like? Hope there's no heck. Billionaires having comprehensible amounts of money and even 10k would change my life in such a big way. Society really be weird and all the customs and rituals we have could be considered barbaric and idiotic to higher life forms. Sometimes I'll go on reality based rants about annoying crap or I'll make up arguments and scenarios. Dreaming is 10x better than reality emo. The list goes on. Being human is weird. That my life is a ticking clock, and every minute I spend at work is a minute wasted when I'd rather be doing something fulfilling. And I'm so exhausted after work that it also steals my time from me even when I'm not working. So I've been throwing as much money as possible into investments so I can retire as young as possible and actually live the life I want to. It's always there, like a low grade, constant panic attack and race against time. TBH people. I want the world to be good, but the older I get the more I see and it's so sad. I think emotion is bad. Greed, selfishness, jealousy. It seems those emotions rule the world. My roommate says I spend too much time on the internet, but I've seen some really, and I mean really bad stuff. I just have no hope left. The good old days when I was a kid and early teen. Everybody was friends with everybody and there was so much fun crap to do. I'm the youngest in my family so I would always hang out with my bro and the older kids. Things are not the same anymore at all. Everybody hates each other. My neighborhood is dead. Kids don't play outside no more. Everything is off. I miss doing ignorant hood crap lol. Now I'll get arrested if I do anything. These days, eventually being a part of creating my very own tiny home. What it looks like, what cool features I'd like to put in it. Heck, I even want an incinerator toilet and I want to become a qualified electrician so I can be more prepared for when everything gets put together. It's my current obsession. How easy it would be to fix most of the problems in the world, but how those issues will go unsolved because there's no money to be made. Like homelessness and starvation. Those problems actually aren't as easy to fix as you think. I guess that most of the time, I think about fulfilling my basic needs. I avoid thinking a lot, because I follow the thought which links a couple of times and I end up stuck on a thought or an idea which makes me feel bad or distressed or frustrated or upset. How crushingly lonely I've been all my life. How I had so much love to give but never met the right person to give it to. Just being sad and full of regrets. I'm 25 and I always thinking about my life and my future. I see my peers and their life and regret about how many opportunities I have missed. I spend a lot of time thinking about the fact that I'm going to be bald in the next 10 years and it will look horrible on me. I'll go from a passable partner to an absolute dud that no one wants. So I gotta hurry up and find someone before I get there. It's terrifying. If you are new to the channel, you can subscribe. I publish new videos every day. Until then, check another video. Bye for now.